I'm just gonna keep the world tournament like information going, and then if you continue to talk about certain stuff, I'm gonna go back into the friends list and just throw some random gameplay
Yeah,
videos of you,
cool.
kind of showing whatever like that, just for some background.
Battle record at the top right.
Yep.
If you
Oh,
click on that,
privacy setting.
oh,
Oh, he locked it in. So
oh,
he's pro. He's
oh, he
going
knows
pro.
about the
He
turn.
knows the
Okay,
tournament. He knows.
okay.
What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. You're back out of the game, coming at you with another video for Summoner's War Lost Centuria. In today's video, we're going to be teaching you how to prepare for the World Tournament that's going to be going down here in less than 48 hours. But as you guys know, I am not a super high ranked person, so I had to bring back Nico Plednik once again, a top 100 player coming in clutch here to help us out, to assist us in preparing for this World Tournament. Nick, how are we doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me over again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. You're always welcome on our channel. We got a lot of great feedback from the previous videos, and I really do appreciate you reaching out to the people that provided some, questions or concerns about some of the information you provided. We had a lot of good debate during those last couple of videos here talking about your strategies. So I was excited. Basically, I was excited to see the community respond and kind of give their feedback on it, because that's, at the end of the day, there's tons of ways to do, play the game, and being able to go back and forth and talk strategy is really good. And it's funny thing that I'm saying that right now, because that's what you basically been doing. We've been talking off the side here. You've been working with some top 100 players back and forth for the last 4 days. We're talking about how you're looking to come at this tournament, in full force here. So tell us a little bit about this. Tell us the rules, and tell us what you're thinking about when it comes to this tournament here.
Yeah, so with a few of my friends here, we've been kind of like doing some mock bannings and picks and bans for the tournament mode coming up to kind of test out how people would react with certain comps and how would we adjust to it to kind of like almost like foresee what people would do. And the tournament mode, for anybody who's not familiar with how it works, is essentially there's no skill gems allowed. All the levels are the same. The only thing that's allowed is a ruin set. So the actual stats that you roll on the ruins don't matter. The fact that it's legendary or common doesn't matter. Just the set effect matters. So it's balanced for everybody. So yeah, so everybody can participate and have a fair chance. The only thing that matters is your brain going in there.
Yep.
So we want to kind of see how would that pan out, because now you can't rely on Lucian with 25% damage boost. You can't rely with the Eleanor with the gem at 3 mana, or even the bird Kono who heals and cleanses your whole team when he dies. You can't rely on those things anymore.
Right.
So the meta is going to be very different in tournament mode than any other mode we've seen, because it's always been runes are banned but skill gems are allowed, and now it's the complete opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm
So it's
good
going
that
to
they
be very
did.
different.
I'm good that they did that, because that's the one thing that I picked up from the original tournament here. I mean, I think a lot of people were just, I mean, if they're like me, I was just excited for the fact that they allowed to have that equal level and not have, runes involved at that time. Because again, when we think about all these different tournaments and people trying to create esport, everyone's like, oh, we can't do it because they're pay to win. This person's pay to win. This, there's so many things that like make it unfair. Well, I think in this particular tournament here, they've made it pretty darn fair here. Like you said before, you just, as long as you're coming in here with 200 IQ, just really think about the strategy inside and out to try to incorporate. You can do some work here regardless of what rank you currently at in the game.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, I guess, what like the thing we should go over. I'm not going to be giving specific comps. There's some comps I can't, because they're not my comps to give out, that some of my friends came up with. But I definitely want to talk about the kind of the strategy going in, and how can you evaluate your opponent's comp, and how do you ban to set your stuff and kind of like a winning position to kind of win those matches before you've even started, which is super important. And I'd say it's probably half the match right there.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for the banning and picking, just in case people don't know, is you see the other person's team right off the bat. According to the description, that's what we're basing it off of. You see the other person's team, and you're allowed to ban 2 units. And once those 2 units are banned, the other person can now replace those 2 units with any units they want, and switch up the order and the placement of where they want to put everything. And that's how you're going to go into the match. So that's essentially where you start off. And then you're going to ask yourself, what do I ban? What am I replacing with? And things like that.
Okay.
So do you want me to go right into it with
yeah. Right on. Right.
Cool.
Go ahead.
So for anybody kind of wondering, like, okay, what do I ban? And the most obvious solution that everybody's going to think of, and it's actually what I've been thinking of for the last month, and just recently changed my position on it, was people are going to ban Lucian. They're going to ban people's carries. So when I see a Lapis, well, if that's their win con, I'm going to ban it. I'm going to ban the Lucian, Giant Warrior, win con. And the more I thought about this, the more I kind of realized that's not the way to do it. Because if you're banning Lucian, what are they going to do? They're going to replace with Tessarion. If I ban Lapis, they're going to replace with Jean or Coom or any other backline carry that exists. DPSs, unfortunately, have so many redundancies in the game that you can't really ban out the slot. You're just giving them another option to just put in. And you could even bait that. You could purposely put a Tessarion, get them to ban it to get your Lucian in. And that could definitely be a way to kind of go about it. So my strategy going in is going to be banning the supports who don't have a lot of replacements. Any buff or debuff, I think currently in the game, except for one, only has one replacement. Only has two. There are only two of each. So I think attack has three. You have Shannon, Megan, and Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
But acceleration, there's only two. Deceleration, there's only two. Defense, there's only. I don't know if there's another one besides Shannon. Maybe I'm drawing a blank here. There might be another one. And then even defense break, there's only one, which is Prilia. So there's actually not a lot of replacements. And let's be honest, most people are going to be running both Bernard and Megan, or
Right.
Shannon and Megan, and they're going to show you their hand right away. So just ban that, right? Because if you ban Bernard and Megan, how do they play? They can't if they don't ban yours, and they're tunneling on your carries, which you can replace. You'll now have a 3 acceleration mana ramp advantage, which lets you play like so many more cards than them that they just can't keep up with the output, the counters, and the DPS you'll be doing, that you win by default just off of mana.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to ban that kind of stuff out, and I don't think people are going to realize how dangerous that is, especially with runes being allowed. The things that nerf the DPSs are the skill gems, not the runes. Not having the 25% buff on Lapis, or the stuns on Tessarion, or the 25% buff on Lucian is terrifying that those are gone, but swiftness still exists for all the supports.
Yeah.
And people are still going to be running those, so those are going to be just as strong as before. So I think they should be the ones to be banned and actually completely ignore the DPSs.
Yeah, and that's crazy too, because it kind of reminds me of Sky Arena when we're talking about RTA. There's a lot of instances where they basically put specific units out there and they make sure that they kind of have everything covered. But one of the easiest way to look at a ban per se is, like I said, not so much like one specific unit that's more OP than the other. That happens all the time. But what is one way to basically take out a unit that they don't have a replacement in? For example, if you're running the heavy CC comp and they only got one immunity there, obviously, even though there might be other units that are super strong, if you ban that immunity, you're sitting pretty good if your comp is, based on CC and control and attack bar manipulation. So yeah, it's kind of like the same way. If you can really cripple their opponent, not just so much for damage, but whatever they're really low on or lacking on, you can really be able to capitalize on their team cover that you're seeing.
Yeah. And you can purposely put scary stuff, like purposely don't care, like just purposely put Lapis in and as your backline carry, and people are so scared of Lapis, it's going to get banned regardless, just out of like a reflex. And you're going to sit there happy because you have so many things you can put in, and maybe you didn't even want Lapis to begin with, you just put it there as a bait, and meanwhile you're just crippling their comp. You can easily play with that. Now if somebody's doing what I just said to you and you're doing it to them, it evens out the field.
Mm-hmm.
How to counter it, that's a little harder. You could essentially put more DPSs on your team, forcing them to only ban DPSs, and then slot 2 supports in to replace that. That could be an option. But now you're starting to risk it, because if they purposely don't ban the DPSs and ban your tanks, you're kind of in a rough spot. So it's that then you start playing the risky game with baiting your bans. So there's definitely there's a level of skill there for baiting bans, but there's definitely a level of risk there that you're gambling and anticipating what they're going to ban. And since it's random queuing, you don't know if you're playing somebody with 200 trophies or somebody with 5k plus trophies, so you can't really anticipate how they're going to react essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit riskier if you're going to do that. So I'd just play consistently, have a safe comp that you're comfortable with, and this sounds like a lot of work, but have a replacement for every 2 combination of bans on your team.
Gotcha. And let me ask you this, because again, you're talking about next level stuff, which is great because they can kind of learn from you and do that. Well, let's talk about some level 1 stuff here. There's a couple of meta comps, right? There's a couple of AoE .coms. You got your single target nuker comp. You got a couple of comps out there that are going to be meta that people are going to be doing. When it comes to the runes, right? We can take advantage of the rune set, but that's really all that matters. So As far as the meta comps that you see, what are your recommendations as far as, what running it, right? If you're running like, single target, are you just going with the basic, damage sets, or is there, since you could take advantage of the sets, are you looking to, give everybody will, because you know that everyone's going to be pushing the AoE, control comps there? Like, what's your strategy, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, so there's a lot of options out there, right? You're looking at, like you said, yeah, dot single, AoE, controls, Lucian Giant Warrior.
Hmm.
Like there's tons of stuff out there. Um, I'd make a comp first. I think step one is then look at what your comp is weak to and cover those weaknesses with spells, or cover the most obvious teams you're going to be facing with the spells that counter that, and then look how can you enhance your weaknesses, or just how can you protect yourself even more or enhance your strategy even more with runes. So if you're like a full-on Lucian comp, well, you probably want swiftness and fatal no matter what people run, because your job is to get Lucian out as fast as possible and get him to hit. If the slower you play, the worse your comp kind of becomes. Well, maybe not worse, but like that's not really ideal. You want to win fast and win like go big, go home kind of thing.
Hmm.
Maybe in other comps you can play more defensively if they're balanced, and you can run stuff like Will. You can run which is the immunity one if I'm not mistaken, and you can start running like the ones that like 35% chance to get your card back, and have a slower game, and you're totally okay with that. It really depends the comp you're running, and you have to kind of make that decision. Are you willing to gamble with 35% card regeneration rate? Is that something you're confident in? Are you What if you hit a comp that has no debuffs and you're running Will? That can backfire. So swiftness, fatal, and energy are always consistent because it doesn't backfire. Well, I mean it can with dot because of 5% health damage, but for the most part they don't backfire on you. So it's really knowing what your comp is weak against and how can you play around that. I
Gotcha.
think. Yeah, it's not really a clear answer. That requires you to just kind of have to feel out your comp and how to round it out.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this here, because I got a unit in mind as far as this question goes here. When it comes to this tournament play, there's a lot of things we've been looking at that are super meta that we've been going back and forth on. If you could pick one unit out of all the units out there that you might feel, I mean, because we talked about it a little bit in our previous video. For those who don't know, I'll leave a link in the description down below, or leave a card above so you can see it. We talked about a couple of underrated and overlooked units. Is there any kind of like, I don't want to say strategies per se, but any kind of card or any kind of unit that you think that people may overlook given this tournament mode and this kind of style of play?
Yeah, so I think a unit that people might overlook that I talked about last time is Kali.
Okay.
Because if you have a Kali and a Lapis in the background, I think 9 times out of 10 people are banning the Lapis, and the Kali hard counters both the Kum and the Gene. So, and a lot of healing in general. So I think that's one that's going to be overlooked. If you run Prilia with the defense on, she hits really, really hard,
Mm-hmm.
and she's decently like her value, her mana for what she does is really solid. It's right where she should be, and she hits hard with some AoE like front hitting comps or paired up with Lapis. I think she'll be overlooked for more important bans like Ellen or Kum, or like some of them are not important. Some of them are just out of pure fear from rank. People are going to ban Kum and Lapis, but Eleanor is going to be a strong ban. And so if you're running sort of cleanse, you're going to see that get removed a lot. Orion's going to get banned so much because people just hate playing against him. That won't even be. I don't think Orion's that good. I've never lost to an Orion. I've almost lost to one. It was really annoying, but it's never beaten my comp. So, but people are going to ban it anyways because they're afraid of it. So it's like bans are going to get wasted on stuff like that, and like things that are really strong and can counter a comp that are not as popular to see are going to definitely slide through, like the two that I just mentioned for sure. And
Gotcha.
tanks won't get banned for the most part, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. Now, and the reason why I bring this up is because I got a theory on a unit that might be a little underrated, overlooked here in this situation, and I want you to correct me, slap me in the face, okay, if I'm wrong, because I feel like I'm going to be wrong, but I might not understand this whole mechanic. But to me, Orion is a unit that I think might get overlooked because of what he can do, which to me, technically, he's a unit that quote unquote can't be countered because when he utilizes his skill, he takes away your cards, swaps them, and doesn't allow you to pick one and counter. And obviously, down the road, he can have some solo potential, even though there's some better options, I think, in this here. Am I saying that correctly in the sense that like when he uses his card goes right away. He pulls your cards away, swaps them out, but you can't utilize any new card that gets swapped in until the thing's up, right? He cannot be
Yeah.
countered in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that
And
right? I feel like
yeah,
I'm 5,000 trophies right now. I feel like
yeah,
like a
100%.
G.
You're right. You're
That's
correct.
so
You're
good.
correct. You're
All right.
correct. There's one comp specifically that hates Orion, and they'll probably ban him every time they see him, or they should ban him every time they see him, and that's the Lucian Giant Warrior comp.
Gotcha.
Because what you do is you run Lucian, you recycle into Kona, but the second you see them use Kona, you know they have Lucian in their hand, so you pop Orion to get the Lucian out of their hand, and they've just wasted.
Oh,
And people have
nasty.
done that. Yeah, that's really annoying. Actually,
Nasty.
that really counters the Lucian comp. I'm not gonna lie. That is your way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just use Orion when you see the Kona go off
Oh, that's
after it procs.
disgusting. Dude,
Yeah, that's the only
that's
comp
gonna be
that should
huge.
ban that.
That's gonna be huge. Yeah. Orion, you just that little strategy right there just pushed Orion back in the meta. Let's go.
I think Orion. What I think Orion is going to be amazing at. Orion is a great putting in after a ban because now you've seen their team and you'll
Right.
know if you'll be good or bad against it. And I think if you start off with Orion, people might ban it just like I said, just because he's annoying. But if you leave him on the side and you're like, oh, this comp's going to do really bad, like Kono Beretta, Kono Lucian, Kono Test, things like that, then you just slide Orion in. You're like, I know your strat now, and you can't ban me anymore. You've already done them. So, and then you could definitely do something like that. So,
Mhm.
I think there's a big skill gap just off the pick and ban phase before you.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of the matches will probably be won in the pick and ban phase now,
Mhm.
even before you get into the game.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think you're right. So let's kind of finish off this kind of topic with regards to, like, obviously you've talked a little bit about what you want to do, but if you can drop your best, 1, 2, or 3 tips there as far as the best way to prepare for the tournament, how would you do that and why?
Okay, tip number 1 is know every replacement combination for your comp.
Sure.
So ask yourself, if these 2 units get banned, what do I put in? If those 2 units get banned, what do I put in? Even if it seems less likely, be mentally prepared, write it down if you have to, just so you know that you know what you're doing. And then maybe the second thing I'd write is possible flex picks you can slot in case you fight specific comps. If you're specifically against a dog comp, or like I said, the giant warrior comp, you can run Orion and have like just those specific flex pick in case you see something really, really like specific of a comp and you want to put that into counter. I'd say that's number 2. So be prepared and know the different comps that exist. And the last thing I'd say is still know how to play the game when you get it, because you still have to know, what's a winning board state, when to counter, when to go aggressive with your mana, things like that. So I'd probably say like that's another one. You still can't just rely on the pick and ban. You still have to know how to play the comp you're with. And if I were to leave one last thing is ban supports over DPS. I think it's going to be the way to win.
Gotcha.
Ignore the DPSs unless you really can't fight a dog comp and you don't have a choice but to get rid of them. There's like rare exceptions, but for the most part, ban support over DPS.
Okay, cool. And last question that I want to throw out there to you, because again, I've watching a couple of ASG's matches here. I've been seeing some things that I'm not really too familiar with. Obviously over the course of the last couple of weeks here, we've been getting some new spells and whatnot here. I've been seeing them incorporated here, and as of late, I've been seeing this. I think it's the spread damage that's been utilized quite a bit here. Any thoughts on your popular on the newer spells, and do you think any of them are going to be popular possibly in this tournament here with the current meta?
So I haven't used much of the newer spells. Do you want to refresh my memory on spread damage again? I think that's the one that if you hit a target, it spreads to everybody else.
Right.
Hit.
I'm seeing a lot of Sophia utilization there to provide the AoE. I don't know if that provides AoE defense break, but that's pretty strong if it can do that as well. Otherwise, it's just damage.
Yeah, so I'm not the most well versed in that spell, but definitely when we looked it over, a few of us in the Superior, definitely the first thing we thought of, like you mentioned, was Sophia. Like it just makes people like Sophia super strong. It makes people like Kali super strong to spread the damage. Like anybody single target, like it's just same with Hua as well. So things like that, like just start hitting really hard, and you can spread that damage around, and it gives like a single target team an outlet for AoE, which is really nice. So I think it's a fantastic spell, and there's definitely like rooms, and like honestly, there isn't many bad spells in this game.
Right.
There's just wrong spells for the match, or like wrong spells for your comp.
Right.
But yeah, like I think there's definitely going to be a place for them, and comps are going to keep evolving. the meta is going to keep evolving. We're going to see so many cool stuff after tournament mode, I think,
Yeah.
because the meta will be so much different because you have to take a lot of the cost at face value. You can't use skill gems.
Yeah,
So
buddy.
it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. True that. So, anything else you wanted to add? Any last words you want to share to the community?
If you get tilted after you take a loss, take a break, because if you get 5 losses, you get kicked out of tournament mode. So
I like it.
don't get on tilt streak.
I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna get on that. Yeah, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me. But yeah, we'll go ahead and close out the video. So once again, I want to remind you guys all, Nico Play Nick is a top 100 player. He does have a YouTube channel. So if you guys want to go ahead and check him out, I'm going to leave some link in the description down below. And stay tuned, guys, because we've just been having a blast doing these collabs. We're having a lot of fun doing them. So I'm definitely going to be bringing him back one more. He's up in there in the top ranks, testing out different strategies, different things over and over again. So we'll take a little bit of here and there and try to provide it for the community in any way, shape we can. Nico, thank you so much once again for coming on board and giving us this idea to make this video. I know everyone's going to be super excited to start preparing for this World Tournament. It's going to be coming up here in less than 48 hours.
Pleasure. I love helping at the end of the day, so I'm happy I could do this.
Yeah, buddy. All right, so that's going to be it, fam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and Nico Play Nick with Childish Plays checking out. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the World Tournament here in a couple of days. We're out.